The lake shimmered like glass that morning, a perfect mirror for the sunrise. Coffee in hand, I was soaking in the peace when a luxury SUV rolled up my gravel driveway, tires crunching like thunder. Out stepped her, heels, pearls, and that unmistakable HOA authority aura. She walked toward me like she was serving an eviction notice to peace itself. "You own this cabin?" she snapped. I set my coffee on the railing. "Sure do." "Why?" She smiled, the kind of smile you see in mugshots. "I'm Karen, president of the Lakeview HOA. Your cabin doesn't fit the community aesthetic. We're offering you $50,000 to vacate." I nearly laughed into my cup. $50,000. The taxes on this land cost more. "That's adorable," I said evenly. "You should turn around before your car gets more dust on it." That hit a nerve. Her cheeks flushed as bright as her lipstick. "If you don't sell," she hissed, "the HOA will make your life miserable. We have rules." It was almost cute how confident she was. "Ma'am," I said, "do you know who owns this lake?" She waved me off like I was a child. "The HOA jurisdiction covers the entire shoreline." I took slow steps forward, boots grinding against the gravel. "You're wrong. I own it, the lake, the land, and everything you think you control. So unless your little rulebook says, 'Bow to the king,' I suggest you leave." Her composure cracked for just a second. "You'll regret this," she spat before storming off, tires spinning dust clouds behind her SUV. As silence settled, I smiled. She had no idea what kind of game she'd just started, or that I'd written the rulebook. This cabin wasn't just wood and nails, it was my father's legacy, built in his rough carpenter hands decades ago. He'd told me once, "Never let anyone take what you build with your own sweat." And now, someone in pearls was trying to buy that legacy for pocket change. Not happening. Karen didn't know it yet, but the battle lines were drawn. And this wasn't just about a cabin, it was about pride, history, and one very misinformed HOA president. 3 days passed in quiet tension. Mist hung over the lake like a veil concealing anticipation. Then, engine noise. Again. Only this time, 2 matching SUVs rolled in, the convoy of petty power. Karen climbed out flanked by 3 clipboard warriors. "Mr. Mason," she greeted, syrupy and smug. "We're here to inspect your property. Community standards." I chuckled. "Community standards don't reach my dock." A board member puffed up. "Every lake-adjacent property falls under our authority." I took one of their papers, dense legal gibberish promising fines up to $5,000 for things like unauthorized paint color. I handed it back with a grin. "You see, I actually own the lake. Which means your HOA can fine the ducks if they misbehave, but not me." Karen's smile wavered. "We have power here. Not the kind that matters." They eventually left, faces tight as if holding in the realization they'd picked the wrong fight. But I knew Karen, official warnings were foreplay. She'd be back, clutching new paperwork and old grudges. That night, I called my attorney, an old friend who'd eaten HOA presidents for breakfast. "They tried to cite me for violations," I told him. He laughed. "Violating what? Owning your own water?" "Exactly. And yet, people like Karen live for control. They see boundaries as invitations." The next morning, I walked the property, camera in hand, documenting every inch, the dock, the porch, the shoreline. I wasn't worried, I was preparing. Bullies depend on bluffing. Facts sink them. By afternoon, my lawyer drafted a letter that could have cut marble. The HOA had no jurisdiction here. Any intrusion would count as trespassing. I approved it instantly. Still, I wasn't playing just defense. I started digging. The HOA had a reputation, lots of fines, lawsuits, and neighbors too scared to speak. But fear is contagious only until one person laughs at it. She thought I was a reclusive old man with a fishing rod. She didn't know I was the billionaire who'd built empires on persistence alone. Let her bring her war. I had bigger cannons, and better coffee. Monday dawned peaceful, until shouting shattered it. Karen was back, this time with two men in reflective vests unloading tools on my dock like they were fixing potholes in paradise. Marching down barefoot and furious, I barked, "What do you think you're doing?" Karen turned with a blinding smile. "Routine shoreline inspection. HOA maintenance plan." One of the workers frowned. "Ma'am, are you sure this area's under HOA control?" "Do your job," Karen snapped, her voice sharp enough to cut rope. I crossed my arms. "Pack your tools and leave. You're trespassing." Karen's smirk turned icy. "You can't stop community improvements." "Oh, I can." I took one deliberate step closer. "Because this shore, this dock, this water, it's mine. Unless you want me to call the sheriff, you're done here." The workers exchanged glances. "Maybe we should go, ma'am," one muttered. She glared at me. "This isn't over, Mason." I smiled. "You're right, it's about to get interesting." Minutes later, her convoy disappeared again, leaving ripples of tension across the water. I immediately called my attorney. "She crossed your property line?" he asked, almost amused. "Right onto the dock." "Perfect. We'll file official notice of trespassing." By evening, the paperwork was in motion. The local buzz spread fast. I couldn't buy a pack of nails at the hardware store without someone whispering, "He's the guy who took on Karen." Retirees in fishing hats congratulated me like I'd won a boxing match. Turns out, Karen had bullied nearly everyone within a 3-mile radius, fined one family for a swing set, forced another to repaint their home, twice. So I decided enough was enough. I called a community meeting, no HOA members invited. The dock overflowed with people fed up with her reign of terror. "She can't fine anybody on private property," I told them. "She doesn't own this lake." "I do, and I say her rule ends here." Applause echoed against the water. It wasn't rebellion, it was freedom. The next morning, I saw her SUV roaring up again, hatred practically pouring through the windshield. There was thunder in her eyes and desperation in her grip on that stack of papers. This time, we weren't having a conversation. We were having a reckoning. Karen stormed up my driveway, waving paperwork like battle flags. "You think you can turn my community against me, Mason?" she shrieked. I leaned against my truck, calm as still water. "Your community? Funny, I didn't see your name on any deeds." She sneered. "You're just a man with an old cabin and a bad attitude." That's when I decided to end it. I went inside, grabbed my folder, and handed it to her. Inside were the original signed deeds, proof that not only was the cabin mine, but the entire lake. "Every drop," I said softly. "You've been trespassing for weeks." She flipped through the pages, her face losing color by the second. This can't be right." "Oh, it's airtight," I replied. "And one more thing, you assumed I was some broke recluse. But I own the companies that built the very roads you drove on." Her mouth fell open. "I could buy your whole neighborhood before lunch," I added, "but all I want is peace. Leave me alone, Karen." She sputtered, speechless, before turning and stomping away, gravel crunching beneath expensive heels. For the first time, the lake felt quiet again. But I knew people like Karen, cut off their power and they claw for scraps. This wasn't truly over. Days passed. Then came the final strike, fresh, private property, markers and legal filings posted at every boundary. Next time she visited, with board members trembling behind her, she froze at the sight of those bright signs. "That's exactly where your authority ends," I said. Her eyes burned. "You'll regret this. We'll take it to court." I handed her an envelope. Inside was evidence from her own members, proof of misused funds and bullying behavior. Actually, I said, you'll be the one facing a vote soon. And I was right. Within a week, her board called an emergency meeting. She didn't even show up, just emailed her resignation. The lake had never been quieter. Standing on the dock that evening, the sunset glowing across the calm water, I finally exhaled. My father would have smiled. His son had learned the final lesson: some things, legacy, pride, peace, can't be bought or bulldozed. After Karen's fall, the whispers switched tones, from gossip to gratitude. Old fishermen stopped me at the general store to shake my hand. Young families thanked me for ending years of HOA tyranny. I didn't celebrate, peace was enough. Together, we rewrote the community's rules: no more vanity fines, no more dictatorships dressed as committees. The lake, once under siege, breathed freely again. One serene evening, I sat by the fire pit with neighbors swapping stories about the HOA queen who lost her crown. Laughter replaced tension, even the night air felt lighter. "Mr. Mason," a young father asked, "how'd you stay so calm? She came at you hard." I grinned. "People like her feed on fear. My dad always said, stand your ground, even if you're standing alone." Rick, the old fisherman, chuckled. "You didn't just stand, son. You anchored." Later, on the dock, my son sat beside me, fishing line disappearing into the twilight. "Dad," he asked quietly, "you really own all this? The whole lake?" I watched the reflection of stars ripple on the water. "Yeah. But what matters isn't owning it, it's protecting it. For folks who respect it." He nodded, thoughtful. "Like that lady who tried to take it?" "Exactly," I said, smiling. "She thought rules and money made her powerful. But real power comes from knowing your worth, and refusing to give it up." The boy cast his line again, water rippling gently around it. For the first time in weeks, everything was calm. The threat was gone, the legacy safe. As I looked out over the lake, I whispered a silent thank you to my father. The cabin, the dock, the water, it all stood as proof that some battles are worth fighting simply because they matter. People will always underestimate quiet men with calloused hands and old coffee mugs. That's fine. Because when Karen rolled up thinking she could buy me out, she learned something money can't teach: never mess with a man who owns the dream you're trying to control. And that's how the HOA bully met the lake's true owner, the one who didn't just buy it, he built it.